Guys, hopefully you all can hear me. I have my headphones in, but we are live. I'm also gonna put my glasses on. Today's a good day, is it not? Today is a good day. Oh, there is a glare. I'm sorry, but I do want to answer comments today, and I want to be able to read them pretty quickly, so I got my glasses on. Okay, for today's video, we are going to talk about persisting versus giving up. A lot of times when I've wanted to manifest something, and hi, Jessica. Yes, today is a fabulous day. And I will be taking questions, comments, any type of discussions. We can talk about it in this one. So, we're going to talk about persisting versus giving up because I've noticed whenever I'm manifesting something, there is this balance between persisting and then also letting go. And letting go is a um, very big topic in the manifestation community. What does it mean to let go? I've done a video on this, on my perspective of what it means to let go. But all in all, let's get started. Also, I have this huge whiteboard because I think that it'll make sense to give a visual. Visuals are good. Um, Before I get started though, so I have the book out from Neville Goddard, At Your Command. And one thing that I wanted to read from this, which I thought was pretty important, and it's also very relaxing to realize, because when we start manifesting things, right? And we're manifesting 24 hours a day. So it's not like you're never not manifesting, but when we start asking things such as, is this meant for me? Is this what God truly wants for me? Um, I've always come back to this part that Neville explains. And he says, stop asking yourself whether you are worthy or unworthy to receive that which you desire. You, as man, did not create the desire. Your desires are ever fashioned within you because of what you now claim yourself to be. So he further explains, when a man is hungry, without thinking, he automatically desires food. When imprisoned, he automatically desires freedom and so forth. These are automatic desires. So if you are going through a specific circumstance and you desire, let's say it's like a specific person, or you desire a certain way of living, these are automatic desires. It's not like you are sitting here. Oh, hello. It's not like you're sitting here conjuring up this stuff. These are very automatic responses to your reality because your higher self already knows your true nature. Your higher self already knows how much is in store for you and what you can realize. So, um, yeah, just leaving all of that judgment aside and going into the manifestation, because once you start manifesting and you start realizing your truth and you start realizing more and more, then those manifestations, those learning experiences will cause more desires. They will stem more desires. So it's like this constant perpetuation of self-realization and being able to express God through your manifestations and through your desires. I hope that helps. And he even says, your desires, I just said this, he says, your desires contain within themselves the plan of self expression. So leave all judgments out of the picture and rise in consciousness to the level of your desire and make yourself one with it by claiming it to be so now. That's so crazy. I wasn't even reading past this point, and that's pretty much exactly what I said. And then he goes on to say, for my grace is sufficient for thee, my strength is made perfect in weakness. So yeah, that's pretty much it. So when we start talking about persisting versus giving up, letting go, I want to answer the question, what do we do? Do we persist or do we let go? And the answer is both. Oh my gosh, this glare it's bugging me. I can't do it. Um, I'll just go. I was definitely questioning if my desire was meant for me or not. Yeah, so the thing is it's a journey. It's a journey, and this is an entire process of self-realization. You're never going to get there to where you want. If the goal in mind is to get married. Well, there's a life beyond getting married. You know what I mean? There's a life beyond getting that object, that material object. So this is a very long lasting for however long you are on this earth. You're going to be realizing more and more things that you desire, and desires are not bad. So whatever you want to experience, that is up for you to determine whether or not you want to experience it. And then through the circumstances that you go through, you can create more desires, you can create a new list, and you can have the experience of God through those fulfillments over and over again. You're never done, it's never finished, you are eternal. It's always going to be moving forward and upward. So, the answer for persisting and for giving up is that you do both. And I want to explain this because I've seen that there's videos on, just persisting and persist until you get it, right? And then I also see videos of just let go of the desire, just give up, excuse me, just give up. It'll manifest when you give up. And I've manifested in both circumstances. So I wanted to clarify why. Why is this happening? It's kind of like asking, should I eat or should I drink water? It's kind of like it's one of those questions where, well, yeah, you need to do both. It's a complete kit. You need to do both. It's a formula in order to manifest what you're wanting, right? So there is this idea of asking for what you want, being specific, persisting in that assumption and persisting in that state, and holding that state long enough to where it feels natural, and the letting go part happens because it's a natural consequence of you experiencing what you want. So let's look at this. We've got persisting. I'm going to be writing on this big old whiteboard. Got persisting. And then we've got giving up. Okay, so we've got persisting right here, and then we've got giving up. But what people don't realize is that these are all leading to the same state. These are all leading to the same state, and that's the manifestation or the wish fulfilled. Manifestation. I forgot how to write manifestation for a second. So this is the triangle. This is the triangle. Yeah. You keep doing this. Like, it doesn't stop. You're always going to be in, as long as you are living, and even beyond that, which I will not be answering today. I don't know what happens in the afterlife. But this triangle, this is constantly happening. We're persisting in what we want, then we're letting go of it naturally, and then the manifestation happens. And even when Abraham Hicks talks about this, they say that the manifestation is in the actual idea itself. And this is true when you get a little bit more into quantum physics. You'll realize that the manifestation, when you think the thought alone is the manifestation itself. By the time you already conjured up the idea or received the idea, the solution was there and it manifested simultaneously. That's another thing too. People, they get very hard on themselves if they don't manifest immediately. And there's a lot of videos on how to manifest quickly, how to manifest instantaneously. It is a very real thing to manifest instantly, but I just want to let you know that this is always going to be happening. And even if it's not instant, that doesn't mean that it's not going to happen, nor does it need to happen by a certain time. So time is irrelevant. Okay. Time is irrelevant. By the time you get the manifestation, it's not even going to feel as though, well, sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes it feels like it takes an eternity, but when you become very practiced at this, it will seem very nonchalant. Time will seem irrelevant because time is not linear. You either have it or you don't. You either are pregnant or you're not. So let's talk about that with the whole pregnancy thing, because Neville Goddard, he's made a lot of references to being pregnant as kind of like the manifestation. And he'll say, okay, if you have a desire in your heart and you know that it's true, then it'll it'll manifest. It's giving up, not thinking about it at all. Um, yeah, that's a great question. So, is giving up, when you give up, does that mean that you don't think about it at all? It's not that you don't think about it. It's just that when you think about it, your perspective on it is different. So, if you are wanting to manifest, let's go back to the specific person example. You want to manifest a specific person, you envision yourself being with that person, you envision the text message, you're envisioning how you are as the person that's receiving communication from them. So you're putting yourself in your shoes as to how you would behave and that version of yourself that's interacting with this person. And when you give yourself the feeling that you need, then you literally, like, that natural feeling of letting go, it comes automatically. It comes automatically because you gave yourself the feeling. Abraham Hicks, she talks about this as well as Bashar, as well as Neville Goddard. This is the reason why they say visualize it and build it up to its peak of naturalness, right? You build it up to its peak, and then you let go of it. You utterly let go of it because you just created a vortex. Abraham Hicks is known for talking about this vortex. So you have this vortex and you created this emotional resonance, right? And you built it to a peak of what that experience would be like. And then you utterly and completely let go of it. You drop it because that vortex, it needs to be fulfilled with that experience that you created in your mind. The subconscious mind, it's and another thing, the subconscious mind is not below. Just to let you guys know, the subconscious mind, it says it has sub in it to refer to below, but it's not actually below, it's above. So when we start talking about the subconscious mind, it knows everything. It is the oneness, right? It's connected with everything, everyone, right? So it's the one that has that bird's eye view that can lead you to what you want. This is why when you turn it over to the subconscious mind and you give it that feeling, you created that vortex, then the subconscious mind goes, okay, yes, I need to fulfill this. I need to fulfill this with that experience that she created in her mind. Like, this needs to happen. So I'm going to give her X, Y, and Z. I'm going to give her all of these different experiences to help fill this vortex. And let's say it's an emotional state regarding your SP. It will put in, if not the person itself, the exact specific person, it'll give you something better. So when people talk about manifest this or something better, that's what they're referring to, because not every time does the symbol equate to exactly what you are picturing. It'll usually be 10 times better than what you imagined, but our conscious mind is only capable of so much. So we have an idea in our head of what it should look like, and then the universe will fill that vortex with whatever state of being we conjured up thinking about that imaginal act, and it has by law no choice but to fill it. So I hope that that makes sense. Letting go is a natural part of giving yourself what you want to experience. It'll be like you do it so much, or you're in that state so often that it feels so natural. It's like, well, yeah, why wouldn't I experience that? If you've ever talked to somebody who lives a very different reality than you, um, if they live a very different reality than you, and you talk about something like, um, let's use this for example, going to McDonald's. Have already spent my time visualizing. I felt it real. I have been there. I physically occupied that space in my mind. Now I just leave it in the, yeah, exactly. God knows what he's doing. Yeah, exactly. When you get to that point where you don't want to visualize it anymore because you're good, like, you're actually good. I'm not talking about the fake, like, because energy doesn't lie. when you have felt it real enough and you've experienced it enough to where you're like, yeah, I'm good with or without it. That's the sweet spot. That is the sweet spot because that is God in manifestation. That is the self expression. That is the self realization that Neville Goddard keeps talking about. You envision it so much that it's like, why wouldn't why wouldn't I do that? Why is it like, of course it's normal for somebody that I enjoy being around to text me or to contact me every day. Yes, you show me this and it is a relief when you are done. Yeah, it should feel like a relief. It should feel like a relief. Let's go back to the McDonald's example that just popped into my mind. Um, I don't go to McDonald's. I haven't gone to McDonald's in over 7, I don't even know, like 10 years. I've seen a few of your videos. They have been very helpful at very crucial times. Thank you so much, Carlos. I'm glad that they helped you. So I haven't been to McDonald's in over like 10 years. And every time somebody brings it up in my reality, I'm like, oh goodness, like that place still exists. And and it becomes funny because I'm like, yes, people have different realities where they are experiencing things on the normal. So that's not normal for me. Same here, Kalasha. Oh, thank you, Maria. I appreciate that. So when you're not used to something happening in your reality, it's like, oh yeah, I that is the thing. And McDonald's, the little golden arches are everywhere. Okay? And this is what really blows my mind about manifesting and creating your own world because you see the golden arches everywhere. You can literally filter out what you want to experience. Even though the golden arches are everywhere on the street, I never see them. I never see a McDonald's. I can't remember I don't even know where the nearest McDonald's is. Because it's filtered out. It is filtered out of my experience. And that's exactly how it is for when you're saturating your mind with what you prefer. When you prefer to live a certain lifestyle and when you prefer to experience certain things, your mind becomes focused on only those things. What about Burger King? um, Burger King. Where's the nearest Burger King? Y'all, stop playing with me. I don't know. Yeah, I haven't been to, like, McDonald's, Burger King, Taco Bell. I haven't been to any of those places in a very long time. I wouldn't even know. That's funny, though. Um, Chick-fil-A, I do know, though. Chick-fil-A, I do know. So, anyway, I want to see a more beautiful world physically, and I start looking to different places in the same street, and my experience of my city, yeah, it totally changes. Yeah. Very early on, I fell into the tarot world. I'm curious if black magic will stop. Oh, I didn't catch all of that. I did not catch all of that. Um, but something about tarot and that experience. Um, so the origin, how to manifest desired dream college. Please help. Yes, I will help. But I was just curious about your thoughts on that. Oh, okay. So we'll talk about the tarot cards and then we'll also talk about dream college because I love that topic. That's so fun. Um, so when it comes to tarot, tarot is reading of your energy. And you know this to be true because what defines even a good tarot reader? Usually when you resonate with a tarot reader, it's because they can gauge your energy. They can read it and they can respond to you in a way that resonates with you, right? So that's usually how you define a good tarot reader in the first place. It's like they say something to you and you're like, that resonates with me. That totally makes sense. And you usually disregard them if what they're saying makes no sense to you. So, what they're doing is they're reading energy and they're reading energy from the cards that are being shuffled out, right? And what's important about this is to note that everything is coming from within. So, whatever your subconscious mind has going on, that's going to be reflected externally to the tarot cards. And the tarot cards are they are just permission slips. They are just confirmation tools, like anything else. Excuse me. You can always use something as a permission slip. You can use, what are they called? I'm missing the word, but it's kind of like when you use something. Oh, what is it called? I'm like messing. I'm like not thinking of the word. I tried to ignore that. Yeah, so I've had a tarot I've done, like, a tarot reading where they said that I wasn't going to get back with an ex, and then I was like, "Okay, that's nice," and then a couple weeks later, I was with that SP. So, I wouldn't the thing is, especially when you're doing the tarot card reading, you can go back to like, even the tarot card reading itself can help you manifest something different in your energy. So, if you're getting the reading and then it says that you're doing something, that awareness and that consciousness will change your identity to where you shift the energies. So it really like just just listen to what you think is good. I try not I don't rely on them actually. And I try to advise people not to get too deep into that because it's just anything outside of you, any type of worshiping other idols, it's just not it gives too much power to whatever that thing is, and the power is within you. You have God in you. That's all you really need. Your imagination is enough. If you think that it's going to happen, then it will happen. If you want to change something, then you have the power to change that and disregard what other people are saying. Going back to the college comments, because I have a very interesting manifestation story. My testimony about college is very interesting. So I went to university at Pepperdine for undergraduate, and I was waitlisted for that school. Got it. Thank you. I appreciate you taking the time out to answer. Yes, of course, Jessica. Um, yeah, it's all good. You get to choose what you want to decide is good for you. So I was going to Pepperdine for undergraduate, and I was waitlisted at first, and I was like, I don't think so. Like, no. So I wasn't even interested in the school. I had applied to it because it was on the roster of things that fit my criteria, and I wanted to go to a college in California. So I applied to it, and then I got accepted into LMU, and I toured the campus of LMU, and I was like, it's not hitting the way I want it to, right? Something in me was just not super excited about it. And I was already waitlisted for Pepperdine, and I was talking to my parents, I'm like, maybe we should go make a trip to where Pepperdine is. I had never seen it before. So we take the drive over to Pepperdine, and immediately, I mean, if any of you guys have been on that campus, I think it's one of the top campus um, ratings in the nation, but it's like a beautiful campus, right? So I go on the campus and I'm like, okay, we can make this work. This feels right. And from that point on, I became relentless, relentless with the admissions counselor. I was messaging him, emailing him every day. And I believe that there's like different counselors for like different sections, or I don't know how that works, but I had like a specific counselor that I was dealing with. I was just emailing him, seeing how everything's going, seeing what my number was in line, like da da da. And I did that. And I remember specifically, I was in high school, I was in Spanish class, and then I got a call from 310, which is like um, Malibu number. So I answered the 310 call, and they said that I was accepted. And I was like, excellent. And the thing is, I had imagined myself, I said, I'm going to do whatever it takes. I want to get into that school. And then there was a certain point that I had where I said, you know what? I have to give this to God. I have to let go. And whatever is going to come out of this, that's perfectly fine. I got to the point where I was like, you know what? I'm going to be fine. Everything's going to be working out for me. And then I got the call like a couple minutes later. It was crazy. Like, it was amazing. But here's the thing. Here's the thing with this story is that Pepperdine was not my first choice. And to be honest with you guys, I was applying to a lot of Ivy Leagues. So I had applied to Stanford. That was like my top school. I wanted to go there. I did not get accepted. And what's interesting enough is I had this prophet woman. I was really heavy in the church during that time, and we went to this women's conference. This prophet was like, oh, she was like going to all these different women, right? Because it was a women's conference. She's like going to all these women, and she's like laying hands on them, and they're like, some of them are passing out, and like she was doing her thing. I was like, my goodness, like, what is she gonna say about me? I was scared, I was nervous, I was excited. I go up to her and she like puts her hands on me and she's like, "You're gonna get accepted into your dream school. You're gonna do that. You're gonna do all these great things." And after that moment, I was like, cool. So I'm going to get accepted into Stanford. Mind you, this was like 1 or 2 years before I started applying to colleges. So listen, I was pissed. I was so upset. I was like, this prophet lied to me. She didn't know what she was talking about. She's stupid. And I was just in my head thinking that this was not how it was supposed to turn out. I was supposed to get accepted into Stanford. You know what I mean? But then years went on. Just listen to how God works. Just listen to how the universe works. So, a couple years after I graduated from Pepperdine, got my business degree, and then I started working for this company in biotech and oncology systems, which, for those of you guys who don't know, it's dealing, excuse me, dealing with cancer. So, people that are diagnosed with cancer, we create the software and hardware for people that are going through radiation therapy, and we help treat them, and then they're free of cancer, right? So I'm working for this company and they have tuition assistance. So I'm over here looking at the tuition assistance and I'm like, this is like a good amount of money. Let me see what additional education I could get. So then I went onto Stanford's website. And this was during COVID. I went onto Stanford's website and I was like, you know what? That prophet, that prophet told me that I'm going to go to a dream school that I had in mind. So I'm going to do it. So I applied. I applied to Stanford's innovation, and I think they still have it out there. I'm not sure if it's changed after COVID, but it's innovation and entrepreneurship, which is literally just teaching you how to manifest. It's like, how do you bring your thoughts into the 3D reality? It's a very awesome program if you guys want to look into it, but it's about a year long and they teach you how to negotiate, how to take your creative ideas and put them into the physical, how to create a business, how to do all that stuff. And I applied for it and then I got accepted. And by that time that I applied for Stanford, I had this peace. That's the best way to describe the feeling. It was relaxed, it was peaceful, and I felt like cool. I was gonna be good either way if I didn't get accepted or if I did get accepted. And then, of course, my job at the time paid the for all of the education, which was very nice because Stanford is not a small price point. So anything is possible, even if it seems like I just told you that story, and there was a lot of turns. Like I, I really was hit with a lot of curveballs. Okay, there was a lot. It's not like it was just some clear cut situation. I knew where I wanted to go, and I knew that I was going to get there somehow, but I didn't know exactly how I was going to get there. And for people that think like, oh, I'm too old for this, or oh, it's not going to happen to me because of X, Y, and Z, or like things that I've done in the past, there is always a way. Like I can't make this stuff up. There's always a way. Okay, so I know that circumstances don't matter, but I just have a week to prepare for the entrance exam. Okay, so if you're like running, do you feel anxious during this process? No. By the time that I applied to the Stanford admission, I was not stressed out because I was like, listen, I've already got my career in place. I already got my undergraduate. I did 4 years in university. This is like, if they don't accept me, then okay, whatever, bye bye. Also, the company that I was working for at the time, one of their main, like the brothers that founded the company went to Stanford. So in my head, I was like, no, I've got connections. I've got ties. Me and Stanford are cool. I even went to so the company that I was working for at the time, they flew me to the area where Stanford is, and because that's where the location, the headquarters was for the campus, and I went there, and then I drove to the Stanford campus and bought myself a sweatshirt. I bought myself a sweatshirt, and I wasn't even accepted into the program, and then I bought my dad a sweatshirt. And that is a very good example of digging your ditches, which Florence Scovelson, she talks about that. But getting yourself prepared. What is your stance on music, too much noise programming, subliminal messaging? I think that, well, I want to answer that, but I think that there was another thing that I just missed that I was going to touch upon. Also, there's people leaf blowing and doing all that stuff out there. So just letting you guys know if you hear anything. I'll answer that question. Situation, she was my best friend, but things got messy. I manifested a 3P and we're in no contact, and I felt tired, like I can't let go. Yeah, usually it just takes you giving yourself the apology, the forgiveness, whatever you're trying to experience. That's what I do. So when people are talking about giving up, when people talk about just give up, right? Let's actually go through that, because you get to a point where you are so fed up with the 3D circumstances that you say, fine. Like you're so tired of manifesting something. You're so tired of trying. Please talk about college manifestation. I will get to it. The manifestation and then also the music, the college and the music. I got that in my head. You get to this point where you're so fed up with trying that you go, okay, fine. If it's going to be this way, then this is what it is. And you've got to understand that that vibration is higher. The vibration of being satisfied with your life and giving up is higher than the shame, the guilt, or the trying, the effort that you were feeling in the first place. So when people get to that point of saying, fine, I'm done, I'm letting this go, I was super pissed off and frustrated that it wasn't coming to me. So now I'm just going to relax and go and live my life. If it doesn't happen, then that's fine. That's a higher vibration. So you're now opening yourself up to actually receive it. And then when you don't care about it anymore, that's when it comes to you, because you were suppressing yourself for so long. It's kind of like a band. And Bashar has talked about this. When you have like a rubber band and you're pulling and pulling and pulling it back, you're pushing and pushing yourself into these lower vibrations. You're not allowing yourself to feel what you want to feel. And then eventually, when you say, fine, F it, and then you let go of the rubber band, then it snaps, and it even like, it'll jump, it'll propel you forward. This is why people, they'll manifest in like a very short amount of time when they give up, because they're just allowing themselves to not worry or not be anxious or not feel so low about themselves. You fly that much more into the light. Exactly. So the more you pull yourself back, the more momentum you go to push farther. There's this celebrity who's really famous and I love him. Okay, please guide me further. Okay. So first let's talk about college, and then we'll talk about music, and then we'll talk about celebrities. So with college, if you are working under a time restraint, you want to go into what I would call just like absolute, like you need to be relentless. And what I mean by that is you need to be relentless about not letting the 3D circumstances bother you. This is when you really have to look internally. So, from what we do know about manifesting and how manifesting works, whatever is happening internally will be reflected outwardly. So, if you are putting yourself under a lot of stress, thank you so much. That was great. Yes, of course, Lara. So when you're putting yourself under a lot of stress, sorry, the guy is right in front of me now, if you guys can hear it. When you're putting yourself in a lot of stress, then it's reflecting more things that signal and signify that stress, right? So what's really important to do is to start training your mind and putting thoughts in your head that relax you and put you in the state that allows you to perform better. So you can listen to subliminals. You can listen to, you can do a meditation, or, saying affirmations that help you along your journey or help you get that exam pass. But what's really important, like this is the fundamental, right? It needs to be putting you in the state of what the wish fulfilled looks like. So let's say you have a week to prepare for this exam and you're really stressed out. Stress isn't necessarily a bad thing. It's how you are working with the stress. Are you stressing out and then not doing anything about it, like you feel so bad, or you feel like you're just going to fail anyway, so why even try? That's a manifestation of like a self concept that doesn't believe that they can do it, right? So when you start asking yourself these questions, okay, what am I actually fearing? What is actually the problem? What is actually the root? And then you ask yourself, how can I change this thought, right? What's going to make me feel better in this moment? And then you start training your mind to think, okay, well, if this does not happen, or like let's say it's an exam, right? Okay, if I don't get a perfect A on the exam, that's fine. But this is what I'm going to do. You're going to create a plan for yourself, and you're going to put yourself in the wish fulfilled, because when you do pass the exam, which you will, when you do pass the exam, you're going to have a certain train of thought. It's going to be like, that, yes, I was able to get that done. I did what was necessary to get the right grade. The right answers come to me easily. I'm very good at taking exams. Um, and if that doesn't feel good for you, then readjust, pivot, find the right affirmation that works for you, and the right train of thought that's going to help you feel good going into that exam. I hope that this is making sense. It's really all about finding the vibration that puts you in the state. So putting you in the state of being like, yeah, I've got this. Um, there was a time a couple years back when I got out of college, and I was like, I don't know if I want to go to law school. And I was going back and forth. So I had taken this class, and it was this online course of this guy who just flying colors. He would always ace the exam to get into law school. And his energy, I mean, I still think about it to this day. It's like I've never seen anything like it. He was so confident. He was so confident. By any chance, can one pass the exam without actually studying for it? I'm lazy. I mean, that's definitely a possibility. Is it okay to force yourself to take action when you're still trying to change the belief that you're not lazy? I'm starting a new business and procrastinate a lot. And people say you shouldn't take forced action. That's a really good question. But I want to work. I just kind of can't. Yeah, so that would be the perfect question to ask yourself. Why can't you? Why don't you feel motivated to learn? Because learning should be fun. There's a perspective in which learning is very fun, and there's a perspective in which a test is challenging and you like challenges. So it's really about your perspective. And what does lazy look like to you? Because there's different perspectives on what lazy is. So if you're willing to ask about, what do I need to do to get the exam, like the exam grade that I want, then I'm sure that you're not actually lazy. You just want to know how can I get the result in the least amount of effort, which is not bad. That's actually the best way to do it. The principle of least effort, which is a law that says, you just think it and you put yourself in that state, and then the resources that you need will be given to you. But I do want to say this, because I've read the autobiography of a yogi, and and that exact example is in the book, where he didn't really want to study for it, and there was a test coming up, and he didn't want to study for anything. He just wanted to be out in nature. And it was very interesting, because you can pass an exam without needing to study for it, but it's like, what do you feel is natural for you? What do you feel like the probability is for you? You really, like, a lot of people, they think that manifesting is some like woo woo stuff, and it can be. It can very well be. When you are in that vibration of experiencing and expecting miracles, then it does happen. But there's also this very natural and very real sense about manifesting, that is, what do you believe is true? Like, just honestly ask yourself, and don't disregard it. Don't just like shove your feelings down. Ask yourself what you believe to be true, and then go from there. Because if you're asking yourself, what do I really believe is possible for me? Do I believe that it's possible for me to not study at all and still get an A? Then you've got your answer, and you can do that. There are people that can do that. If you have answered my question and been like, I don't know if I could really pull that off, then it's just about building the belief. It's just about building that belief and getting yourself in a zone where you do feel that that would be possible. And again, using your imagination. If you can imagine yourself taking the test, I have an imaginal act for you. Taking the test, right? You took the test and you've already finished that. And then you go up to your friend and they're like, "Oh, how'd you do on the test?" And then you say, "I did amazing. I did better than I thought. I did better than I thought." And then you replay that scene in your head. I think that that'll be really helpful. Is this video going to be available later? I want to watch all of it, but I have to go get stay. Oh yeah, yeah. I'll be leaving it here on my channel. And I also decided that I really like lives because I get to talk with you guys and answer questions. Please let me know if it's actually possible to manifest a celebrity who doesn't even know that. Oh, of course, yes. I manifest celebrities all the time. You can definitely do that. It's not it's just about manifesting another specific person. I believe that I can't consistently work. That's the problem, which is always a person who gives up. Mm, you could see that. You could see that aspect of yourself, or you could make the decision to not be somebody who gives up. And it's like, what exactly are you giving up on? You know, and you can change your life at any moment. You don't have to stay in that same self concept. So you can decide right here and right now that actually you you don't like you can do whatever you want. You can all of a sudden now you're putting yourself in a reality where you are true to your word and you will wait it out, or maybe not wait it out, but you'll stick with your manifestation. You'll stick with it until it gets done because there's really no option. It's like, yeah, I decided that I'm somebody who just gets what they want. Any top affirmations for the exam in college? Um, I mean, if you want to be specific, you can. Brianna, I need to manifest weight loss and eat my diet exercise don't work for me now. I truly believe it's all in the mind. Yeah, it's all about the mind. I'll talk about that right after the exam. So if you're wanting to be specific about the exam, you totally can. Also, if you want to be general about it, you can. But that imaginal act, I feel like would help a lot. Also, if you want to go on Pinterest and look up a visual of just like an exam afterwards and you see the score at the top, you can definitely look that up on Pinterest and just right before you fall asleep, just look at that, feel all that you want to feel about it. But affirmations work, like having the inner dialogue. You're always talking to yourself, like you always have these thoughts going on. But I wouldn't stress too much about like honing in a certain affirmation. I would just focus on like the feeling of having the wish fulfilled and already accomplishing what you want. As far as manifestation goes for weight loss, that was something that prompted me to create this YouTube channel. And I want to say I got rid of a lot of the videos that I did, but it was probably like 4 years ago now, maybe even 5, where I did a series on how to get rid of weight loss. And oh my gosh, you tried the Wealth Family? Oh my goodness. Okay, so I have a video on here and I'm talking about affirmations that I absolutely love. And one of them is I come from a wealthy family, like my family is wealthy. I'm so glad that you tried that affirmation because I love that affirmation. Um, I love that affirmation so much. And it's just so cool to see the people around you thriving, like your closest family. Oh, it's just so much fun. That one brings so much joy to me. Um, so going back to manifesting weight loss, when you are doing that, so there's instant weight loss, right? You can choose how fast you want to lose the weight and how fast you want to experience this. It all depends on you and how you want to experience the weight loss. So for me, I just wanted my mind to be right and I wanted to think very good thoughts about myself. So I got rid of the scale. That this is like my personal experience. You don't have to do this. You have to do what's going to work best for you. I got rid of the scale because the scale was bringing me too much validation. Hold on just one second, Laura. So I got rid of the scale because it was bringing me too much validation. It's like if I didn't reach that goal, then I was feeling bad. And then if I did reach that goal, then I was feeling good. And because I felt good, that gave me permission to eat something bad, right? So I was like, okay, this is a sticky situation with this scale, that relationship. So I just got rid of it. And then I started focusing in on how I felt, how I truly felt. And your body is very, very good. We underestimate our body. Your body is very good at telling you when it's time to stop eating, and then also when it's time to start eating. If it needs water, if it need like it's very good at telling you what to do. It's just that oftentimes we ignore it. So what I started noticing is that one, I became way more conscious of when I was eating because most times we just eat and we don't even know why we're eating. So what I would do before I started eating was ask myself, why are you eating? Are you eating because you're happy, sad? What is the emotion? And then are you actually hungry? And I didn't restrict myself. That was the biggest thing for me because I had restricted myself for so long and for so many years. I had dealt with restricting that I didn't want to live that life anymore. So I just got really in tune with my body. Like, why exactly am I eating it? Do I still want to eat it because I identified why I want to eat it? Like, do you still want to go through with it? And then if I decided to go through with it, I would give myself permission to actually enjoy the food. And this is something that can be over, like, some people might not think it's as important, but I think that this is the most important step is to actually bless the food and feel good about the food that you're eating while you're eating it. Most people, like, let's say it's a cookie, right? And then they order the cookie, they get the cookie, and then they're like, yes, this is going to be so good. But while they're eating it, they're thinking terrible thoughts about themselves. Like, it's this really bad dynamic, right? And that's what that happened to me so many times. So what I started to do was I made a decision. That was the first thing. I made the decision that anytime that I ate food, I would give myself permission to not feel bad about it. Like if I was hungry and I wanted to eat something, or even if it was for an emotional reason, like I had a down day and I was crying and I just wanted ice cream, whatever the case may be, I would allow myself to eat that and bless the food and thank the food for being in my presence. And guys, I just did that over and over and over again. I kept putting myself in that awareness, and the weight naturally came off because the more I was feeling better about myself, consequently, the more I started doing things that I enjoyed. So I started exercising again and started dancing again, which is something that I enjoy doing. Like the more that I kept giving myself validation, and I started like giving myself love and started like loving my body and what it's doing for me on a daily basis. Like I'm not even thinking about my heart beating right now. It's doing it automatically. I started like really focusing in on the things that I don't have to think about, and I'm just so blessed, you know? So then I just naturally started raising my vibration by telling myself how amazing I was. And then when you naturally raise your vibration, then you start to drink more water. Your mind doesn't necessarily want to eat certain foods that your higher vibration body would want. You start to just genuinely want things that are better to sustain your body. So it's not about forcing. It really isn't, because I've done that before where I would force myself. I tracked all my macros. I've been vegan. I've done the keto diet. I've done every diet that you could think of. And what I noticed is that it would last for a period of time and then I would revert back because I wasn't actually changing my internal thoughts. So find a way that works for you. I also read intuitive eating, and that really broke the chains. That helped me quite a bit. Um, and once I read that book, then it helped my perspective. It really changed my perspective. So I hope that that helped. And um, for weight loss, things like that, for me personally, I got rid of the time. I didn't want the time restraint on me anymore because I had been battling with it for 5, 10 plus years. I didn't want to, I was just like over it. I was like, I don't care how long it takes. I'm over it. My better self-concept. Yeah, I think that self-concept and just recognizing yourself and the love that's in you, the love that God has for you. It's so powerful. It's so extremely powerful. So, going back to the topic of giving up and persisting. This big old whiteboard that I have. You're going to do both. You're going to persist in what you want, you're going to be specific, and you're going to ask. And when you ask, at that same exact time you ask, the answer is given instantaneously. Same moment that you ask something is the same moment that the answer is given. But then there is this process of feeling it to be real and putting the tones of reality to whatever that thing is, right? Seeing yourself receiving the phone call, seeing yourself receiving the money, seeing your family do well, be wealthy, seeing your friends thrive, whatever the case may be. And you're going to see that naturalness in your mind. And then you're going to do that over and over again to where you feel like, feels pretty, like, I feel like I'm good. Feel like I don't need to do this anymore. I'm good. I'm good. And you say thank you. It's like this appreciation. It's like, wow, I feel good. I feel satisfied. Both of these situations are going to give you the manifestation. It is a formula. It is a formula. So if you've gotten to that point where you feel like letting go and you're just sick and tired of doing a certain technique, um, don't do it. Don't do it anymore. Don't do it anymore. And something that's very interesting that I've noticed within myself is when I've done something over and over again, like I did that for my car. I knew that I went from a Ford Fusion 2006 to a Porsche Macan 2019. And for me, that's a very big step. That's a very large jump. Okay. When I was doing the practices in my mind, I was thinking to myself, the next car that I get is this car. So what are we going to do about it, universe? Like, what are we doing about this, God? Because the next car that I get is this one. Like, I'm like, listen, this is how it's going to be. The next car is this one. Then I would just keep replaying it. I would keep replaying that image in my mind. I'd keep envisioning myself holding the steering wheel, driving it, doing all that fun stuff. And then when I was tired of it, I was like, okay, moving on. Because something that I've realized is you can milk the manifestation, right? Like you milk the idea over and over and over again. And then it's like it becomes stale almost. And that's when I've noticed that I need to think bigger. So if you've gotten to that point where it's like it's pretty stale for you and you feel like it's not exciting anymore, that's good because that means it's time for you to start thinking bigger. Start thinking about other desires, start thinking about other things that would excite you. Um, it's it's just it fascinates me because we we ask for these desires and it's like child's play to God. It's like, "Oh, you want a text? Okay, like the universe is just so eager to give it to you. God is just so ready to give you what you're asking for. And all of these things, I mean, like when we start talking about God and the universe and all that stuff, I think that the term God has become a bit more um maybe just like overused, or maybe it just doesn't have like maybe people have different perceptions on what God means to them. But the idea of God is like the universe, the galaxy, like everyone that's in it, all the like everything, like all this energy that's happening around us, asking for a house or asking for a couple acres. asking for the things that we're asking for is very small in the eyes of God, in the eyes of the universe and what they're wanting to give you. I hope that this is making sense. What I'm trying to say is that what you're asking for, it's never too big. It's never too big what you're asking for. And if it starts to feel like it's stale, start asking for more. Yeah, start asking for more. Don't let it get stale because you don't need it to get stale. I mean, your imagination is like it's always going. And something that's so interesting, this is something that I learned from the Stanford program that I was in, is that ideas when ideas happen, like the really life-changing ones, the billion-dollar ideas, those type of ideas are very quick, they're very fast, they're very fleeting, and they whisper. They're like little hunches. They're like little, like they're not these loud voices, and they don't feel bad. They're usually like in the shower, you like hear this like a nice thought and it's very exciting, but it's also like I don't need to do it right now. Those are the thoughts. Those are the thoughts that actually need to be acted on. Those are the ones that will put you towards more of what you're wanting. So I think that that's all that I've got for today. Um, you do both just like you would sleep and then also wake up. You persist, then you also give up. You're just getting yourself to the point where you allow yourself to feel that thing so much to where it is natural. Okay, this actually brought up Heidi came. Oh, thank you so much, Cookie. Um, Also, another thing that I wanted to say before I leave. This is a long one. I think this is my longest slide. So persist and give up is like a circle. Yes, exactly. It's like a triangle though. It's like a triangle. It'll bring you back to the same point and it never ends. So I want you guys to think about um, this friend that I had to get her back. I'll go to the end. Okay, I'm gonna answer your question about the friendship thing, but I first want to talk about TikTok because we see this in our society already, how manifestation works and how the law of attraction, the law of assumption, how all that stuff works. If you have a TikTok, if you have an Instagram, if you have any type of social media, you are always directed to what you resonate with. So when you're watching TikTok, I get a lot of cat content. I like cats. I mean, they're just so cute. And I used to not be a cat lover at all before Willow found me through the cat distribution system. Um, but all the stuff that I see on TikTok aligns with how I think. I get a lot of Bashar. I get a lot of Earl Nightingale. I get a lot of Abraham. I get a lot of things through TikTok because cats forever. Exactly. Because it's what I like to see. It's what I'm putting my attention on. I also get a lot of content about businesses, um, how to expand your, whatever social media platform you're wanting to work on. I get a lot of content around that, and then I also get like really just dumb, funny content, like I don't know, just random things. So you have to look at your life as if it's TikTok or as if it's Instagram, because that is literally how life works. Once you start putting your attention on something, then it starts expanding. Um, when I have an idea on expanding my bank account or like whatever the case may be, when you start focusing on it, then you start seeing people and experiences that will help you. Like we're all helping each other experience the reality that we want to. So when I'm focused in on experiencing, let's say like a $50,000 a month, $50,000 a month business, right? I'll start thinking about that, and then I go on TikTok, and then I see TikToks about people that are in that same mindset, that are making that amount of money, and then they're like trying to teach other people how to do it. This is exactly how life works. The more that you start focusing on something, the more you will see more of it. And that's just how it goes. It's like the persisting and the giving up, it can be very quick. It can be very quick, and the more that you do this and the more that you practice, the faster it gets. The faster it gets. That's why I just said previously that if it's becoming stale, start thinking bigger because yes, the higher the vibration and the higher the frequency of the idea is, the faster you are going, whether you think it or not. The lower vibrations, like depression and all that stuff, you're moving at a very slow rate. But when you start thinking about those ideas that are exciting and that are fleeting and all that, it's happening very quickly. That's why Abraham Hicks, she talks about this, or they talk about this, how you can be doing something, and once you've got that momentum started, it happens and it comes in very quickly. You'll wonder why it hasn't shown up this fast before. Like your mind will just be blown away by how fast it's happening because everything is just coming to you. It's all flowing in. It's because you're at a certain resonance where you're acting on each impulse, and the more you keep acting on that still small voice that you hear in the shower or while you're doing the dishes or while you're driving, when you're acting on that still small voice, you're getting more nudges towards the desires that you want. I hope that this has been helpful. I think I've spent so much time on here. I feel like I'm done. Okay. You guys have a wonderful Monday, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Drink lots of water. Okay, that's all I have to say.